right, mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2. What's going on, my people? All right, shalom, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shabrakatha, thumb to all my brothers, and shalom Yahweh Shemar thumb Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah to all my sisters. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahanna in Milwaukee. Of course, what we teach is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true Israelites according to the history of the Bible and according to the history of the world. And this today is obviously self-explanatory, our history class. Joining me is Officer 5000, Zaquan, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So together we're gonna dive into a history. If anybody got any questions, you can put them in that joint. If you won't, questions are welcome. We're gonna try our best to follow the TikTok guidelines. I'm gonna test my discipline in my tongue. But there's a history around the world about the Exodus. You know what I'm saying? About Moses himself, about the Israelites, how they came into Egypt. What else? What Moses may look like. It's a lot of things. All right. So we're just gonna start from the tippy top. Of course, the Israelite School I.S.U.P.K. We specialize in historians. We specialize in archaeology and history. So we'll just get right into it. We'll start with Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. You know what I'm saying? Again, I see y'all on TikTok, man. Y'all may want to join in to the live stream, but this is an actual class as well that I'm streaming on. So we'll have more interactive content where we could just let y'all come in, you know what I'm saying, and talk, or maybe after the class, we'll let y'all join in and talk and chime in on what you want. But man, I'm reading the comments. Put your comments in. You don't have to agree with us. You know what I'm saying? Like what we're bringing out is not something that you have to believe. It's not something that you have to agree with. It's just us bringing out the history the way America does not want you to see it. America does not want you to see the accurate history. America wants to teach us accepted history because it corroborates or it goes right in congruency with the way America and the ideology is set up for you to interpret their religion, and it helps push their narrative. So we'll start straight from 1 and verse 1. Let's get it.
This is Exodus chapter 1, verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt.
Now y'all might see us out there with a 12 tribe chart. The reason why we do that is because the nation of Israel is a compilation of different tribes from a man who had 12 sons. His name was Jacob. His name was changed to Israel. So the reason why we call ourselves Israelites is after that man. That man is the son of 2 prominent men in history whose name were Abraham and whose name was Isaac. You understand? So, and then you have Jacob, their son. Jacob is the one who the covenant came to. So you might see us on the streets, and when we teaching this in 2 different capacities. Right now, I don't have to yell. I don't have to scream. I don't have to debate. I don't have to do any of that. Right now, we're in a classroom setting, and there's 2 different dynamics. So if you ever seen us on the streets, I know a lot of y'all be like, oh, that's them crazy niggas. I mean, them crazy dudes that be on the street. Excuse my language. That's those crazy dudes that be on the street, man. All they do is scream and yell, and they don't know nothing. Why don't you go get a job? We're those guys. But in that capacity, we're out there fighting against all the traffic, all the noise, you know what I'm saying? All the buses. And that's why we have amplified sound. All right. So, but now we're in an actual classroom setting. My voice doesn't have to be as aggressive. It doesn't have to be as super powerful, but I will teach with the authority that I know I have. So again, on TikTok, man, if anybody want to get on here, give their comment, chime in about the history of Exodus, hell, whether you believe in the Bible or not, doesn't matter. We can find these instances outside of the Bible as well. We're just starting with the Bible because this is where it all comes from, right? So Read that again from the top, please.
This is Exodus chapter 1, verse 1.
Exodus chapter 1, verse 1. Go ahead.
Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt, every man and his household.
Every man in what?
And his household.
Of course, we all started from just one household, right? So you're looking at the 12 tribe list. You got Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, and so forth. All of these brothers were just one man with his household. So it could have just been Judah and a couple of wives and his sons. Maybe he had 4, 5, 6 sons. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a whole bunch. It was just, a collection of one family, just like how we are today. We got families everywhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we have extended families. So that's all that was. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Kanawaka. Every man and his household.
Every man in his household, go ahead.
Came with Jacob.
Then they came with Jacob, which is their grandfather. Just think about the patriarch of the family today. In today's time, we like to hone in on like the matriarch of the family. Why? Because the man been removed from, in most cases, not all of them, but in most cases, the influential grandfather that runs the house, the patriarch, who is second to none, has been removed out of the house. He's been taken out of the house because maybe he wants his family to go one way and America wants it to go the other, right? So, but the patriarch of this family, whose name was what?
Jacob.
Jacob is your forefather, man. That's where you come from, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people. You don't come from, you came from Africa, of course, but if you knew any history about the transatlantic slave trade, it was also called the triangular slave trade. So the same people that got off of those slave ships that came to America, some of them came from England, some of them came from Africa to compile up the boats, and then it was brought here to America, dropped off, and then it just kept happening. So, and if you could excuse us, man, we experienced the storms in Milwaukee, so our connection might be a little bit choppy, but just bear with us. And if you could give us some feedback, let us know. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so we're trying to hurry up, get through this part so we can get to the juicy parts. So let's get it.
Kanawaka, verse 2. Reuben, Simeon, Levi.
Well, I'm gonna name them all down, right? So Reuben, Ra'aban in the Hebrew. Yes, we speak ancient Hebrew. Ra'aban is how you say it in ancient Hebrew. Reuben is the eldest son of Jacob. Who else?
Simeon.
Shemaiwan. Shemaiwan in the ancient Hebrew. Go ahead. Levi, which is Law Yah. Law, like you see the word law, L-A-W, and then Yah, Y-A. That's where you get the word, that's where the term lawyer comes from. I'm not making this up. The term lawyer comes from the actual tribe of Levi, who dealt with the law in the book of the Bible, which every court system in America copies after this father copy. And Levi being the priest, their name in ancient Hebrew being Lawyer, which is where you get the word lawyer from. All right, go ahead.
And Judah.
Judah being the so-called Negroes. Doesn't mean that we have to be specific to the Americas, but if you're a Negro, then a lot of Negroes was dropped off in Puerto Rico, some in Hispaniola, in other Caribbean islands, some in Brazil were dropped off. Well, if you're a so-called Negro, then guess what? You are from the tribe of Judah, and the way you say that in ancient Hebrew is Yahawadah. Yahawadah. All right, go ahead.
Verse 3, Issachar.
Issachar is the so-called Mexicans, and the way you say their name in ancient Hebrew is Yashakar. Yashakar. All right, go ahead.
Zebulun
would be the people from Guatemala. You know what I'm saying? El Salvador. You know what I'm saying? Panama. Nicaragua. You know what I'm saying? Those places in Central America. Belize. A lot of those people from Belize, though, are Benjamites as well. But the indigenous population of that area of the world are Zebulon. And how you say Zebulon in ancient Hebrew is Zabalawan. All right. their sigil is the ships. All right, and that's another breakdown we'll get into in a while. But go ahead.
And Benjamin.
And who?
Benjamin.
Benjamin, of course. Also, like I said, some of them was in Belize as well, but where they really inhabit is the island of Jamaica and Trinidad. You see what I'm saying? Like that area there, majority are Benjamin, and the way you say their name in ancient Hebrew is Bun Yum Yun. Bun Yum Yun. All right. We can get into the names and what they mean a bit later. I just wanted to run them down for you because I know y'all see us with the 12 tribe chart. Just a little small introduction into what we teach. All right, go ahead.
Verse 4. Dan
or Dan in the Hebrew was also a tribe, a son of Israel, but his tribe kind of got very, very small. It wasn't producing enough in later times, and so they got absorbed by another tribe. I think it was Simeon, right? So a lot of Dan went into Simeon. So that's why you see also on the 12 tribe chart we do not have Dan, because Dan is not on the 12 tribe chart anymore. Although Danites are still here, they're just probably mixed in with other, or Manasseh as well. Manasseh, I think they went into Manasseh. So not Simeon, but into Manasseh. So a lot of people from Dan are by proxy, majority we call them Manassites. But we'll get down to Manasseh today as well, and then we'll talk about them. Go ahead.
And Naphtali.
Hold on. Who just do Dan? Don. Yes, I did that. And then you got Naphtali, right? So Naphtali, those are the people from a spot in South America. You know what I'm saying? Namely, like Peru, from Uruguay to, help me out.
Peru.
Yeah,
Uruguay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So those people, you know what I'm saying, are South American as well. Demographically, you would know them as some of the most prominent Native American Indian tribes and kingdom or realms that were here pre-Columbus and when he got here. And the way you say that in Hebrew is Napathalia. 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 All right, that's ancient Hebrew right there. So if you was on live, if you wanted to say that with me, you just spoke ancient Hebrew. Napathalia. All right. That's ancient Hebrew. That's the language that Jesus Christ spoke. He didn't speak Yiddish. That's the language that Moses spoke. He didn't speak Yiddish. What people who have bastardized our language and our land and took our identity, who call themselves Jews today and are not, those people speak a different language from what Jesus Christ spoke, from what Judas Maccabeus spoke, from what Moses spoke, Aaron, all the prophets all throughout the Old Testament spoke what I just spoke. All right, go ahead.
Gad.
And Gad is what we would call the North American Indians today. So all over North America, you got North American Indians. Some of them are separate though. Like the Mexican Indians are separate from the North American Indians. The Seminole Indians are separate from the North American Indians as a whole. The Eskimos are not even our people at all. Those are more Japhetic people, more like Polynesian or something like that. Those are not in the 12 tribe chart.
Right.
Those are not our people. Those are not Shemites. Those are Japhites. So, but in the tribes that go into Canada, Ontario, and all of that, those Native American Indians as well, which also, like, if you look at it, like Native American Indians as a whole have different prominent families amongst the North American Indian tribes, like like the Algonquin and like the Crow and the Creek, and saying all these other different national identificational tribes, and then they have sub tribes as well. But all of those people are generally from one person, and that they were just allowed to come to America, North America, and populate and keep populating and keep populating. And then different prominent families went against other different prominent families. But those are all the tribe of Gad. And in ancient Hebrew, the way you say Gad sounds like when you say God in the word God, right? So you pronounce Gad the same way as you pronounce God, because there's a sound in ancient Hebrew. There's really no sound in ancient Hebrew. So Gad is how you would say Gad, Gad in English, but in Hebrew it would be God. All right, go ahead.
And Asher.
And Asher would be those people from South America as well, namely like Brazil and stuff like that. Asher, you know what I'm saying? Asher in English, in Hebrew, Ashar. Ashar. Those people right there, some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people. Those would make up that tribe. Go ahead.
Verse 5.
Now, I know you didn't hear Joseph and you didn't hear Manasseh. And that's because at this time, Joseph and Manasseh, weren't in existence as a tribe yet. And then as we get further on into the history on the 12 tribes, then we'll talk about how they came about and why they made the 12 tribe chart and why Dan did not. All right. All right, go ahead.
Verse 5. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls.
Now, at this point, everybody that was in Jacob's family, it was just 70 people, man. Now you got and that's not including Jacob. Okay, so Jacob is one man, and then all the people that came out of his loin, all his offspring at this time, were just 70 people. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like your family today. If your family was allowed to thrive and give space and room, and your sons had been able to become like, you know what I'm saying, elders amongst your people, like, you know what I'm saying? And then they had grandchildren who had grandchildren who had grandchildren had grandchildren. After a while, it multiplies. It's no longer a small family, but then it turns into a tribe, a small tribe. And it turns into a big tribe. And then all together collectively, you know what I'm saying, you'll end up being a nation how we did. Go ahead.
And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls.
For what?
Were 70 souls.
70 souls. Go ahead.
For Joseph was in Egypt already.
Because Joseph was already there, right? He was of course sold into slavery by his brothers. Anybody who needs a little encapsulation on what happened. Just a quick little sidebar. Joseph had caught the envy of his brothers because his father loved him a whole lot. He started becoming like the favorite son, right? And the brothers didn't like that. They devised a plan to get him trapped up and sold him to another nation, to the Arabs, who in turn sold him into Egypt as a slave, which was totally wrong for them to do to this brother. And nobody is to treat your brother like that, man. That was wicked as all get out. You know what I'm saying? That's not brotherhood. That's not love. So we don't do that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And we learn from this Bible how we should be. You see what I'm saying? So but that's the history there. And this is why it says Joseph was already in Egypt, because he was sold into Egypt. And he had ended up getting some prominence. He became second underneath Pharaoh. He became the viceroy. He saved Egypt via the Lord. The Lord allowed him to save Egypt. And just a big 1 second. I don't want y'all to start. I know what we start to think about when you hear these stories. I just want you to, when you think about the story and this history that I'm talking about today, I want you to scrub out whatever you saw on Exodus, Gods, and Kings, right? I want you to scrape out what you've been taught through cartoons and what you've been taught through media, and I want you to erase the idea that these people looked like people from European descent.
Right.
Erase that out of your mind right now.
Right.
The people that I'm talking about in this Bible right now are all dark-skinned people. namely the people who you call today so-called blacks or Negroes, Hispanics, or Native Indians of Negroid or Indian descent. These are the people that we're talking about right now, not the people that Hollywood depicts. Hollywood is pushing a narrative that whenever you think about Jesus Christ, you're thinking about some guy who has pale skin, who has long blonde hair, and has green eyes. And that is not true. Nowhere in history will you find that. Nowhere in the Bible will you find that. And the nations that were around us in those times have depictions of what we looked like. And we were not those type of people. We were Negroes. And I say Negro because of this. I know a lot of people may find me saying Negro to equate to the word, the N word, but it's not. The word Negro, I know they used it as a derogatory term for us, but they used it for a reason. Give me the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary real quick so we can just go over that. It should be over there in that bag.
Okay.
The reason they used it is because there was a distinction of all the other black races. All the other black races that are on the planet are all in category, right? Or the dark-skinned races are all in category. And the reason why I use Negro is not in a derogatory form, but it's to depict the type of people that they're talking about. You see what I'm saying? And history does that. So don't be offended at the term Negro, Negro or black. Black is just is Negro and black are the same word. There's no way to get around it. The word Negro derives from a Latin word called niger, which meant black. That's all. It's just a color. But the reason why we use the word black is from its most earliest understanding of what we use the word black for is because of it depicts the state of existence, a dark state of existence that we were in before. You know what I'm saying? And that we're in today. We're in a dark state right now, where the number one hired. I mean, when the number one fired and the last person hired, the entire earth hates the men of my race, who you know as Native American Indians, Negroes, West Indians, and so-called Latino or Hispanic tribes or people. They hate us with like the earth hates us, and then we love the earth. We love all the other races, but the other races are monopolizing our neighborhoods. They're painting us as rapists, as drug dealers, as murderers. You know what I'm saying? And we're far from that people. They say that we're deadbeat fathers. That is not who we are. You see what I'm saying? So that's the existence that we're in. We deal drugs. We make whores out of our women. You know what I'm saying? We mistreat them and you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's inherent because of what we learned here. We're jealous of our brothers. You see what I'm saying? We kill each other and rob each other over the craziest things, the most trivial things. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I say we're in a dark or in a the blacks. You see what I'm saying? But I could be using it twofold. I could be using it as the color that we're depicted as, which always will end up being Negro, or I could be saying it as a state of existence that we live in today currently. But what I'm saying today, right now, is I'm making a distinction between us and the other dark-skinned races, and I'm gonna show you that history has done that. And it's important that we do that and not be so emotional about the thing, because it's actually what withdraws us from every other dark-skinned race. The East Indians that are over there in India that are Hindus, those are dark-skinned people. Some of them are darker than me, but you don't consider them black. Give me another one. The majority of the people in Malaysia are dark-skinned people, but you don't consider them black. And when I say black, Negro, right? The Africans are dark-skinned nations, and that's plural, but you don't consider them Negroes or blacks. So there's a difference. You see what I'm saying? The Polynesians, the Hawaiians, those are a dark-skinned or brown-skinned people, but you don't consider them blacks or Negroes. And you have to understand this concept. What we're reading right here is about dark-skinned people, but blacks or Negroes, and specifically, or Native American Indians, or so-called Hispanics, which are so-called, and I'll say, like, for lack of a better term, dark-skinned people, black or brown. You see what I'm saying? So let's see what historians said about it. And if you could show them what book we're reading out of. This is a book that has over 65 prominent professors and archaeologists and linguistic specialists. It's called the Zondervan's Pictorial Bible Dictionary, and there's so many sources that they cited. They went to these places, and they gathered information. So let's listen to see what they said about us as a people. All right.
Okay, so am I looking for the Negro?
You're looking for Ham.
Ham. Kind.
Now, when he reads this, you'll hear this definition, and it's a must that I got to break it down, because this is going to disqualify so-called Negroes in America from being any type of African. And I know you like to be African, but nobody wants to be the type of Africans that put the plates in their lips. None of us want to be the type of Africans that have that their clitoris removed. None of us want to be the type of Africans that eat very, very messed up things that we don't consider food today.
Right.
Nobody would nobody, you know what I'm saying, want to be considered the type of Africans that do not bathe or use soap or deodorant. Nobody wants to be those types that eat monkeys. Nobody wants to be those types that got the big old, earrings in, and, that got all the plates, you know what I'm saying, that the rings around their necks, the ones that allow, cattle to urinate on their hair. They bathe in urine, you know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be those. You only want to be the Egyptians because you want to be the greatest of, you know what I'm saying, the Africans. But in reality, there's no historical evidence that ancient Egyptians moved up to the west coast of Africa, and then that our oppressors put us on slave ships from there. So you can disqualify that. We're not Egyptians. There's no proof that says that we're the Nubians. That's another prominent African, so-called African nation, because there's over what, 50 plus nations in Africa. They speak different languages. They have different gods. You know what I'm saying? So there's no connection between us being Nubian, us being any other nation on there. And then there is a convoluted history because of where we settled into. Like, we settled into Ghana, we settled into Sierra Leone, and all those western coastal so-called African spots. And then we engulfed the people. We took over their regions, and we took over their tribes. And Israelites were rulers there. You know what I'm saying? But there was a difference between actual Israelites that were in that land at that time, and then there was a difference between the actual tribal indigenous people there. So the Ghanaians, you know what I'm saying, them being a tribal people of that land, we went into that land and took it by force, and then we ruled over them. And then they would just start calling us Ghanaian kings. But the Ghanaian kings had certain names. I can show you that in the Zondervan's as well, or in Babylon and Timbuktu. We had like the Golden Kings, like stuff like that. You know what I mean? We went against other African tribes. So, it's imperative to know this history. And the reason why nobody wants you to know this history is because if you learn what your identity actually really is, then you could begin to start fighting the chains that enslave your mind today by using the process that our ancestors used in totality to be able to gain power, sovereignty, resources, constitution, something to galvanize us together back to where we came from. And that's what we need today. We need unity. And don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that we can't do business with other races on the planet Earth. But what I'm saying is that us together, first of all, we need to come together and monopolize our territory.
Right.
You understand? We need to just draw lines. Let's draw these lines and separate ourselves from all of the things that are killing our people.
Right.
And then let's Let's institute leaders who we believe have the formula to take our people in a better direction. And as of now, we know that that so-called Christian pastors are not those people.
Right.
Ever since Martin Luther King Jr. and the people that were with him, that you know what I'm saying, they brought and they institutionalized us and indoctrinated us with the beliefs that they want us to have. Ever since he had a dream, we've been living in a nightmare. And before he died, he also said that he feared that he had integrated us into a burning house.
Right.
So even he didn't believe his dream was something that we needed for our people.
Right.
What we need for our people is a culture, an identity, a system of laws, and let's get rid of the spookism that they put on the Bible. Let's turn this Bible into a practical thing, as it has always been, as a constitution for our people only.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what it's about. This is not about religion. I'm not pumping religion on anybody. The only way you can be an Israelite is to be born one. You understand? And I am making a distinction between that. You understand? To be an Israelite, you have to be born of Negro, West Indian, Native American, or Latino descent from your father. And that's just the facts. It's not a religion because no one can just join it. There's a distinction also. I know y'all have, you know, all of y'all go outside and go shop on the weekends, and you see a lot of people standing on the corners, and they got mics and they got big speakers, and they all dress with what you think fringes are. Or, well, let me tell you something. The Israelite School of UPK is not affiliated with any group on the planet. We are the original school of the prophets. We always have been, and we always are today. We still are today. And so if you see people out on the streets trying to teach how we teach, please abstain from them. If it's not I.S.U.P.K, it's not ordained by the Lord. It's just not. You understand? And it's like the disclaimer that you see on videos like what's the that got dang, what was that joint that it used to come out with all the stunt men on it? Like, okay, ridiculousness.
Do not try this at home.
Yeah, do not try this at home. Like, literally, we give a disclaimer all the time. Do not try this at home. People try it at home because they look at our videos, they see our teachings, they write down our teachings, and then they mix it with their own spinoff, and that's dangerous. We have over half a century of protocols and experience and what to do and what not to do, and it's just the proper government of our people is in the Israelite School of UPK. And outside of that, we can't ensure your safety.
Right.
We can't ensure your safety. We can't ensure that what you're teaching is well. We can't. We can't ensure that how you dress is well and up to code. We just can't. You know what I'm saying? So don't mistake us from people who are also out on the street that try to do what we do. And if you see those brothers, man, man, just know the difference between the I.S.U.P.K and other groups out there that just will not come into us. And I'm gonna tell you why they won't. Pause. They won't come into this government because in here you actually have to teach what you've been taught. You can't make up things. You can't add on to it. You can't improv. You have to teach what you've been taught, and it has already been laid down. You can't dress how you want to dress, meaning you can't put fringes on the bottom of a t-shirt. It's not biblical. You see what I'm saying? But we do wear fringes on our garments, but you can't do it off your shirts. What's another one? We don't force people to wear one color. That's religion. You can't force a man to wear gold. You can't force a man to wear red. You can't force everyone in your school to wear purple. You can't force everyone in your school to wear brown. You have to. These people are not under a religion. You understand? There's a dress code, but it's not based on the color. You understand? It's not. Now, you might see us wear black a lot. You're looking at troopers on entry level. Troopers on entry level, those are the ones who have to wear black.
Right.
And that's spiritual. But once they graduate from being a young man and a trooper, then they can do whatever they want as far as what they want to wear. But there's a dress code, and it's just giving yourself the time to break bad habits, and that's the whole point. Nevertheless, back on topic. So you'll see us out there with the 12 tribe chart. We'll be teaching. We just went over the tribes, but I definitely want to make this distinction. I don't want none of our people to be mad at the word Negro or mad at the N word. Don't be mad at that. A lot of us get emotional when other races come up and call us that. They doing that because their souls resonate with who you really are. And if they can make you hate who historically you really are, then that's the number one thing that they can do to destroy you. You understand? At the end of the day, it's not derogatory to call yourselves, you know what I'm saying, the N-word. And I'm gonna tell you why. The meaning of the N-word is not, it doesn't mean ignorant. That's something that they made up in America. That's something they made up so that you can feel derogatory about it. The N-word simply means black. And you call yourselves black every single day. Black Americans. Okay, so then don't let people get you out your comfort zone and get you emotional and have you assaulting them because they called you a word. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And this word has historical connotations to distinguish you from every other race. And I don't care how much you want to love every race is still going to look at you as the N-word. So let's explore the N-word from the mouths of so-called European or pale, you know what I'm saying, European or pale historians, all right? Go ahead.
Colonel Wakan. This is the word ham.
1 second. The brother had a question in here. What biker gang are you from? I'm not from a biker gang. I do like to wear leather, though, like my ancestors. And you'll never see a biker gang wear this. This right here is one of a kind. You can only get this in the Israelite school of U.P.K. This right here, one of a kind. You can only get this in the Israelite school of U.P.K. You understand? I like to wear leather like my ancestors did. Sometimes you might see my pants. They might have, you know what I'm saying, fringes on them all the time with borders of blue. You see what I'm saying? That's an excellent question that you asked. A lot of people may mistake us for biker gangs, but we just go back to radical blackism. And the first biker gangs were Negroes and Hispanics because we couldn't afford the Cadillacs that white people were driving. We couldn't afford it. Cadillacs cost a lot of money. And they had all the Cadillacs. They were making songs about the Cadillacs. And then Negroes and Hispanics banded together and started wearing leather, you know what I'm saying, and started putting fringes on the leather, and then started buying Harley Davidsons. And Harley Davidson became famous and rich because Black and Hispanics started buying those bikes. So your original biker gangs were all Black and Hispanic people too. So when you see biker gangs today and they dress like this, they took that from our ancestors. They took that from us. So go own this. Go get you a nice vest. They comfortable. They protect you from the cold, from a cold breeze. I promise you they do. And they look good. And throw you some fringes around here. You know what I'm saying? Y'all looking at this joint right now. I don't mean to be vain, but this is the early stages of what my vest is gonna look like. I'm about to drop fringes on it, different patches, all type of stuff, man, to represent the truth. You know what I mean? But this is your culture, man. Time to snatch your culture back, man. And stop always letting these heathens take what you do that's so great in the earth and turn it into something different. Remember back in the days, all the white people used to wear their hats like this. They used to wear their hats to the front. And then one day, somebody from our race decided to wear it to the side like that. You know what I'm saying? Now that's popular hip hop culture. You see what I'm saying? So, man, everything we do as a nation and as a race becomes popular culture. Our music, we started country music, but who's known for country music right now? Our oppressors. Our oppressors are known for country music, and they didn't even invent it. Bluegrass. We invented bluegrass. Blues. We invented the blues. R&B. We invented R&B. Hell, I'm gonna take it all the way back. You ready? Classical music. Mozart was a black man. That's a fact. Shakespeare, contemporary literature. Shakespeare is known as the top one with writing plays and doing, screen and writing scripts. He was a black man. But somebody tell you that was actually, it was whitewashed, and then now today he's known as an oppressor or a so-called European. And that's just not true history. It's not. It's time to snatch back the greatness, the thing that make you great. And then they take the thing that make you great and exploit it. And then now Jewish companies who stole our music from us and monopolized it, now they tell you what music is acceptable and what's not. When really you invented rap, when really you invented R&B, you invented blues, you invented jazz. How could I forget about jazz?
Right.
You're the original biker gangs. You know what I'm saying? When you wasn't committing crimes, you was just a bunch of brothers, blacks and Hispanics, getting together wearing bandanas and, you know what I'm saying, and wearing the helmets and wearing the leather and the fringes off your bike and the fringes off your with the biker boots and all that. That's your culture. That's your influence. And you weren't criminals, man. You weren't. And then our oppressors wanted to start doing the biker gangs because it looked cool. Right. They saw the unity. When we rode, we used to ride on them bikes in unity, man. Right. We had structure. You had a leader. You had co-leaders. You had men in the back that would watch the back. You had the ride in formation. It just looked powerful. And, of course, they wanted to take that from you. Right. So they took it, started their own biker gangs, and then used it for organized crime to push drugs and guns in your neighborhood. How about that? So, no, I'm not from a biker gang, brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge.
That's right.
Started out of 1 West Harlem, New York, with the top knowledge on the planet. You see what I'm saying? We just make everything look cool because that's what our bloodline is about. You see what I'm saying? So, no biker gang. Now, let's get back to the history, right? Now, there's over 65 scholars that came together as a collective, and they wrote this book based on history and archaeology and in the geological places that they went and geographical landmarks and stuff like that. So let's read what they had to say. They studied all of these different nations over there in what you would call the first world, right? The old world. And we're living in what's supposed to be called the new world, right? So this is the demographics. If you could read.
This is the definition for the word ham.
Ham, go ahead. Not ham sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Not what they call pork today or swine today. Ham, and I'll tell you what his name is in Hebrew. It's chum. Chum. Chum is the name. That's how you say ham in ancient Hebrew. Chum. Chum. Okay, so that's what that is. Ham is the way you say it in English. Go ahead.
The youngest son of Noah.
Remember, I don't know if you're familiar with the Bible, and a lot of our youth are not even familiar with the Bible. They hate the Bible because what Christians put, the stain that Christians put on it, the hypocrisy that the Christians put on it, the lies, and they know that the Christians just really want to rob their grandmama, and you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. And I don't blame you. I hate Christianity as well, but the Bible has nothing to do with Christianity. And if you read that Bible, there's a story in here that talks about a man and his 3 sons building an ark, and their wives helping them to complete it. And they lived through a global geological flood that killed everybody in that immediate region. And they put animals on it, some clean, some unclean, and they separated it all. They was, all of that story. Well, Noah's youngest son, his name was Ham, right? Read. Now, before you even go, Noah was a dark-skinned man. Shem was a dark-skinned man. Japheth was a dark-skinned man. And Ham. Noah and his 3 sons were all black people. So were their wives. Go ahead.
The youngest son of Noah.
Born
probably about 96 years before the flood.
Which means that he was approximately 90-something, mid-90s in age. Back then, There wasn't so many contaminants in the air, and you know what I'm saying, the earth wasn't hurting, and our lifespan was um, a lot longer because you know the toxins that we put in our bodies today kill us. The lifestyles that we live today kill us. The oppression that it shortens your lifespan. You know what I'm saying, and it's just in general. I'm not saying that there aren't some people that can live up to 125. You know what I'm saying, or somewhere like that. I know people that lived all the way up to like 110, 115. Shoot, I got an auntie that's alive right now. She's like 100 and something. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and she still got her mind and everything like that. She still can think. Called her probably like a month ago. You know, she's a Native American Indian. You know what I'm saying? So her lifespan is up there, up there. So I mean, it is what it is. But so he was about 90 something years old before the flood came. Go ahead.
And one of 8 persons to live through the flood.
He was one of those 8 people that we just spoke about that lived through the flood. Go ahead.
He became the progenitor.
You want to listen well. Make sure you listen well to this. All right. Let me find out what the word progenitor means for y'all. All right. And then UPK, we don't just make up, you know what I'm saying, what a definition means. We don't just you know, fabricate something. We actually go and find what the word means, and that's what we do. All right. So the word progenitor, which is spelled Progenitor, the word progenitor is a person or thing that from which a person, animal, or plant is descended or originates, an ancestor or parent. Similar words are ancestor, forefathers, forebear, parent, or primogenitor. All right. Predecessor, forerunner, source, instigator, founder, or originator. Like, how about this? The Israelite school of UPK is the progenitor of all Hebrew Israelites. You understand? That go out and teach the word of the Lord. We're the progenitor of everything that they teach. That's right, not the things that they make up. So if you ever see an Israelite on the street, just know the I.S.U.P.K is their daddy, and they need to come back home. They out there running the streets against what we taught them. Tell them come back home under command of General Yahanna. Go ahead. He became what?
He became the progenitor.
He became the source. He became the forefather. He became the originator. Go ahead.
Of the dark races.
Of the dark races. Now, the dark races that we know of today. The reason why these are so-called Europeans writing this, and they said that Ham was the progenitor of the dark races. Now, when they wrote this, European, so-called European or pale-skinned people ruled the planet at this time. In America and Europe, South America, China, Asia, these people rule the earth when they wrote this.
Right.
So when they wrote this, they're coming from a pale skin dominated planet. So they're saying that Ham is the originator, the forefather, the source of all the dark races. Here's how you know that that's not true, because East Indians are dark skinned people. The original Arabs are dark skinned people. The original Asians were dark skinned people. So of course they're not talking about all dark-skinned people. They're talking about the dark-skinned races that they classify as black or negroid. All right. But he's about to make a distinction right now in this book. Read again. He became what?
He became the progenitor of the dark races.
Put a blanket on all dark races. Go ahead.
Not the Negroes.
Not who?
The Negroes.
Not the what?
Negroes.
So he became the progenitor of all the dark-skinned races. But what?
Not the Negroes.
Not the Negroes. This is really what we're reading right here. I don't want nobody to think we remixing or making it up or nothing like that. This is literally what we're reading right here. The water. Keep reading. So they just made a distinction between dark-skinned races and the Negroes. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Go ahead.
But the Egyptians.
Stop. You are not Egyptian according to so-called our oppressor scholarship. Negroes are not Egyptians. Again, Negroes are not Egyptians. So throw Kemet away. It's not yours. You Negroes and us Negroes in America did not descend from the Egyptians. And they said the Negroes because they making a distinction between the race of people that they have in slavery and then the other races that are dark skinned on this planet. Say that part again, not the Negroes, please.
He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes.
Not you Negroes. And we know that now, even Africans today come over here and they say that there's a difference between them and the Negroes. If you make like Meek Mills or other rappers or rich people that move over there to Africa, the only reason why you're accepted is because you have a lot of money that could benefit their nation. And then they'll call you brother and sister and all that. You just falling for what's called the okie doke because they know you don't know where you come from. They know that their ancestors sold you into slavery. Then they hit that come back home brother. They didn't sell their brothers into slavery. They sold an invader into slavery, and we invaded their lands. The Negroes invaded the west coast of Africa. We're not from there. Go ahead.
Not the Negroes.
Not the Negroes. Go ahead.
But the Egyptians.
But the Egyptians. So Ham is the father of the Egyptians, not the Negroes. Go ahead.
Ethiopians.
You're not Haile Selassie is not your king. Haile Selassie is not a descendant of Israel. Solomon is not the Eritreans or the Ethiopians' father. He didn't. King Solomon never had sexual intercourse with the Queen of Sheba. That is not true. It's not in the Bible. That is what your European oppressors taught you that was in the Bible that they could never substantiate. And they used Hollywood again. Once again, they always use Hollywood to use their wizardry and their witchcraft to make you believe something. And you want to know why they call it Hollywood? Hollywood is what wands, like the Harry Potter wands, when they put spells on you, alakazam, and they put all that stick that they have is supposed to be made of Hollywood. You understand? That's why they call it Hollywood, because they running magic on you. They putting game on you. When really the source of the Bible never said that was so. Go ahead.
Not the Negroes.
Not the Negroes. Go ahead.
But the Egyptians.
The Egyptians are Hamitic. Go ahead.
Ethiopians.
Ethiopians are Hamitic. So those are two races that are not your people. Your Negroes in America do not descend from this race. You're not Egyptian and you're not Ethiopian. So that automatically rules out two religions, right? The first religion is Kemeticism or Egyptology, the religion of worshiping stars, moons, animals, and men as being gods. That's Egyptology. That's not our culture. So get rid of that religion. The religion of Ra, Geb, and all of them Hoteps and all of that. Get rid of it. It's not yours. Your ancestors did not come from that. We were slaves to the people that believed that. All right. And then another one, Rastafarianism. Rastafarianism is not a black or so-called black man or Negroid or West Indian or Native American Indian or Latino culture. Forget about Rastafarianism. And the only thing that Rastafarianism taught you is to make a religion out of smoking a drug called weed and becoming drug addicts to where you can't eat without weed. You can't make love to your woman without weed. You can't go watch a movie without weed. You can't read a book. Well, I'm sorry. I don't think any weed heads read books. That's just what I think. I could be wrong, but I don't think y'all read books. You can't function without that drug, which means that you're an addict. Also, you know what I'm saying? Then you got the dreadlock community, the people that wear dreadlocks, some of the most filthy, one of the most filthiest hairstyles that you can wear. Lice attach themselves to that. And the reason why they used to be like, oh, Negroes don't get lice and all of that is because Negroes are known as being a clean people. Even when we were in slavery, we would wash ourselves, we would wash our hair, comb our hair. I'm a direct descendant from slaves, just like you. And we know for a fact that we are not dealing with nothing nasty, nothing filthy. We want to always wash our hair, shampoo, condition it, add oils to it. You know what I'm saying? And keep it braided or keep it done and keep it clear of tangles and clear of knots and mats. And then somebody who believes in Rastafarianism taught you that you are from some Rastafarian Ethiopian trash. And then so here you go. Now you're getting dreads, and then you turn it into some fashionable state. I'm gonna tell you, here's the history of dreads. You ready? In America. At first, the real dreadlocks were those matted sideshow Bob looking locks, right? But I guess the women didn't like that. So now what they did was they just twisted up your hair into small little what you call it. Those are not real dreadlocks. Those are matted, you know what I'm saying, locks that the real dreadlocks are. So now what you're getting is matted twists that dread up, and that's against the Bible, is against the laws of God to even do so. Moses never had dreadlocks. Samson never had dreadlocks. Jesus Christ never had dreadlocks. No Israelites ever had dreadlocks. The Native American Indians came over here from the Assyrian captivity. They never had dreadlocks. But on the contrary, the locks that they did have were warlocks, which are those two braids that the Native American Indians wear. They were braids, braided locks or plaits. All right, so two gods right there that we can expel from the Negro mind. Forget about it. The Negro and Hispanic mind should not be thinking about Egyptology, or to worship it, or Rastafarianism to worship that either. Go ahead, let's read some more.
God. Libyans.
The Libyans. Libyans are another prominent so-called African race. I think that is it Nubia or something like that. But one of them kingdoms that were great came from Libya as well. You're not Libyans, all right? You're not. So stop it. Stop trying to be them. You're not from Kush. You're not. All right, leave it alone. Let those Libyans be Libyans, okay? That's not you. All right, go ahead.
And Canaanites.
And all the other Canaanite nations. You're not those people, man. So stop it. The actual people from Mizraim were the people that ruled over us in ancient Egypt. They weren't even called Egyptians. How about that? Now cut them right there. They're not even called Egyptians. In the time that the people that you call Egyptians were walking the earth, they weren't not known as Egyptians. The word Egypt is a later word that came from Greek, from the Greek language. We knew them as Mizraim or Matazarium in the Hebrew. That was the name of that race of people. Mizraim or Matazarium in the Hebrew. The Egyptians were Matazarium. Those were the people who had us in slavery, and those were dark-skinned people. So when you look at the TV today and you see Egyptians being displayed as white people, that's a lie. And you know it's a lie. You just don't care because you're getting high on drugs. And you need to stop it. And even though those people were dark-skinned people, guess what? There's still a difference between the Egyptians and the Negroes.
Right.
The Egyptians were a dark-skinned race that had the Negroes in slavery. And then we fought to get out of slavery. Today, we welcome slavery. We welcome it. That's because they wiped our identity. The fact that I'm even teaching this class about who the Negroes and Hispanics are means that somebody, some race, thought that it was important to get rid of the identity of your race and then
Right.
give you some watered down version of somewhere that you aren't even from.
Right.
If race didn't matter, why would the race that rules over you erase your identity and give you something else? If race didn't matter, if color didn't matter, why would it become a construct in America to use colorism to divide a race of people, namely the Negroes, West Indians, Native American Indians, and so-called Latinos? They use the construct of colorism to make us go against each other, and language and religion. If color didn't matter, why would they remove it from the Bible?
Right.
That's what you got to ask yourself. If color didn't matter, why would they take the 1611 King James version of the Bible, which has all color in it? It'll show you that the Israelites are black. It'll show you that, you understand, not only the Israelites are black, but the angels of God are black-skinned people. It'll show you that Jesus Christ is black and that God is black. That's all in the Bible. Why would they make a new version of the Bible that shows you that the Jews are black, that Solomon is black, that David is black, that Job was black? Give me some more. That Paul was black,
Right.
that Peter was black,
Right.
that Barnabas was black. Why would they take a book that shows you that and then revise it and then take the color out of it? Why would they do that? And at the same time, paint the icons of the Bible as white people, when the original icons of the people that were in the Bible, like Jesus, when I say icon, I mean the iconic people of the Bible, the Israelites, the angels, God, Jesus, and the kings of Israel were all depicted as dark-skinned people. Why would they whitewash that if color don't matter? Why would they do that? Why would they make movies in Hollywood about the Israelites being white people if color didn't matter? The only people that color don't matter to are the people whose race and color was wiped out of history, that don't have a connection to history. And that's our people. And it's so sad. And now we have to teach a class about history and race and color to give you your power back. And it's an honor to do it. It's an honor to do it. And there's going to be a lot of people who hear this and say, no, God loves everybody. And God died for every race. And you're the proof that you're an Israelite. You are the proof that you're an Israelite just by saying that. If you a Negro, Hispanic, or Latino, and you believe that Jesus Christ was sent by the Most High to come and save every race, then you obviously are ignorant of history. You obviously are ignorant of what's going on in the earth today. You're ignorant from oppression, and you just don't know life. Because come on. You think Jesus Christ is coming to save white people from what? They don't need saving from anything.
Right.
What do they need saving from? They have a military. They have money, resources, power, land, you know what I'm saying, control, authority, and autonomy on the planet Earth. Why is Jesus Christ coming to save them from what? Themselves? No, sorry. He's not coming to, Jesus Christ is not coming to save China. China has its own military,
Right.
everything, his own government. What is he coming to save China from? You know what I'm saying? He's not coming to save France. He's not coming to save Australia. He's not coming to save Britain. He's not coming to save any of these countries. You understand? He's coming to save the people that are lost, that's in these countries, that are actually Israelites. And that's the whole idea of the New Testament. Time to separate yourself, man.
That's right.
It's time to start wearing these vests, these leather vests.
That's right.
It's time to start going back to ancient Israelite garment. You're looking at ancient Israelite garment right here in your face. It's ancient. It is in the Bible. The leather and the studs. It's in the Bible, man. Instead, you want to wear Gucci. Instead, you want to wear Louis, Prada, Fendi. Those are all Versace. Those are names of white people that keep you in slavery. The money that they make goes to institutions that keep you in slavery. It goes to Hollywood. You understand? You want to be a basketball player.
Right.
When shooting a ball into a hoop is not what's going to liberate your people.
Right.
And yet you looking at LeBron James and you calling him an idol. I want to be like LeBron James. You cry when you see LeBron James.
Right.
LeBron James don't give a damn about you. He cares about his money and his sons, his house, the women that he have sex with. He ain't trying to mess up his money for you. You want to know why? Because he was in the ghetto too. Let me tell you something these athletes know. In the U.P.K, we didn't counsel your top athletes. We didn't counsel your top, you know what I'm saying, actors and all that, rappers and all that. They all know us, from Waka Flocka to, you know, Boys the Men, some, you know, give me some more. Mike Tyson, the Wu-Tang Clan, you know, Ray J, give me some more that I personally, Horace Grant, you know what I'm saying? All these people, they know exactly who you are, but they're not about to leave the safety of their money to come and be poor with you. Why? Why would they do that? And nothing in their mind says, okay, since I don't have the spirit to do it, let me send half of what I own to the Israelite School I.S.U.P.K so they can do it then. And I can just continue to throw a ball in a hoop.
Right.
But let me fund these people. Why? Why they don't do that? Same reason you see Kanye West was a billionaire. He was. And then when he started talking about us being the children of Israel, and Kanye West was totally right. Something about history Kanye knows that you don't know. And Chicago has a rich Hebrew Israelite culture there. Rich. He came out and started telling you that you was the people in that Bible, that you are the real Jews, and the people that call themselves Jews now are just using you and putting you into a new slavery. He started speaking out about that. And you know what they did? They did to him the same thing they did to Nick Cannon. They made him apologize for telling the truth. The only way to be anti-Semitic is to pump crack into the neighborhoods of the Jews, to divide the families in the neighborhood, in the communities of the Jews, is to do all of the type of things, put the Jews in poverty, to keep them racially and systematically oppressed from the jobs that they can get, for keeping them in the demographics of the ghetto. You know what I'm saying? It's so many homeowners and real estate owners that have to parade themselves as white people in order to sell houses. Because if they knew that you were a nigga, excuse my French, a Negro, if they knew you was a Negro, they'll appraise your house for way less than what it's supposed to go for.
Right.
And all you got to do is put pictures of white people and white families up in that house, and then they'll appraise it for $350,000 where it should be. That's racism. That's racism. Anybody who knows what I'm talking about know I'm telling the truth. But a lot of our people are stuck in the ghetto and have never been able to go and afford an actual house. I just watched something where it was a black couple. The man was I think a surgeon, like a mega surgeon, and his wife was like a judge or something. You know what I'm saying? They were in some state, I forget the state. They were in Indiana, somewhere around there. Indiana, or was it down south? Nevertheless, they built a big dream house. Their dream house looked like a castle. And all of the things that they wanted to do, they got it all, you know what I'm saying? All the blueprints, they got everything approved, right? Until that neighborhood or that region or that county found out that these were black people. Then they started giving them hell. Their dream house still ain't done. It's 6 years later. You understand? They halted these people because now they thinking to themselves now, is it even worth building this house, living over here? And when you start asking yourself, is it worth living in the area that you thought you was about to escape your people from? That should make you say, you know what? Instead of buying a dream house for myself, why not go back to the ghetto that I'm from and buy up as much property as I can and give everybody a dream house here? That didn't even, you know, they don't even consider that.
Right.
And that's crazy. And here's what else you don't consider. That you're not Egyptian, that you're not Libyan. Is there any more? Oh, Canaanite, you're not none of that. Can you give me the image, the black image in the mind of whites? You know what I'm saying? In the white mind. You know what I'm saying? If you could, please. And then we'll get back to the scripture. Give me page 75, I think. 75. Start from there and then read this.
This is
show them the book you're reading from, please. Because they think we don't know history. All right? They think we don't know history. Leave it there for a couple seconds. All right? It'll show you when these studies was done. Look at that. The 1800s to the early 1900s is when this study was done. All right? All right? It's called The Black Image in the White Mind. You know what I'm saying? It's a collection of let me see the title again. Let me see it if I could. It's from George M. Frederickson. The debate on Afro-American character and destiny from 1817 to 1914. This book has things from 1817 to 1914 in it. And you telling me you know history. Let me tell you what they hide in books from you. Let me show you this. Read.
in the 1840s, Morton collaborated with George R. Glidden, an Egyptologist.
George R. Glidden is an Egyptologist. This was a white man. It was a white man that went to Egypt and made Egyptian archaeological digs. He looked at the inscriptions. He studied the mummies. He studied the language. He studied the culture. He studied the demographics from Upper Egypt to Lower Egypt, from the upper class to the ghettos there, from Goshen to Avaris to Ramesses to all of these different places there in ancient Egypt, right? He went there, and he's what you call an Egyptologist, or a educated person in the history of ancient Egypt, right? He's a white man. So your first Egyptologists were not black people; they were white people, and they laid the foundations of what you call Egyptology today. And you don't even what they say it was is what you go with. Go ahead.
Who provided him with mummy heads?
Mummy heads. So guess what? They opened up these mummies and they saw that these mummies were black people. None of these mummies had white skin. Now there's a difference. Now you can go to Google right now and you can Google mummies, right? And there's mummy from different places. Like they got mummies from Turkey. If you go to Turkey and you look at the mummies from Turkey, those people that were mummified from Turkey, northern Italy, those type of mountains and the Alps and all of that, those were white people. And you can see that they clearly have white skin. But if you go to Egypt and you go to the pharaohs in the time of where they're at, you know what I'm saying, in ancient Egypt. So obviously they knew ancient Egypt, and they knew the servants in ancient Egypt. They know exactly what time period that you Israelites were in slavery there. They know it. And then they sit there and tell you that the earth is billions of years old, and that this you can carbon date this to 11 million years and all this crap. When really they even took roughly 1,000 years out of history in the dates, so that they can hide certain things from you. But here's what real Egyptologists said, and these were white Egyptologists doing a study on y'all or us in America. And these are white conversations. These are not having anything to do with Negroes. There was no equality. You was a slave picking cotton in 1815. This was not about you. This was about what they needed to know about you and how they can keep you best in slavery. And they looked at masonry and they looked at ancient Egypt and the secrets that they used to keep the Israelites in slavery. And they did it to you here. You thought you was smart. Okay. Go ahead.
Who provided him with mummy heads and information about the racial significance.
About the what?
Racial significance.
About the what?
Racial significance.
Well, I thought race didn't matter. Race is significant. You understand? He's trying to find out who the Egyptians are racially, and if The Negroes that they have in slavery in America are Egyptians. That's what they're trying to see. You understand? Even though they know that we're not, they're trying to. Here's what this book is trying to show you. They're trying to validate the reason why they put us in slavery. That's what they're trying to do. Go ahead.
The racial significance of Egyptian tomb inscriptions.
So the tomb inscriptions in Egypt as well. Go ahead.
Crania Aegyptica, published in 1844.
Stop. So there's a book in 1844 that was published called Crania Aegyptica. All you have to do is go look up this book and find it. You can find this book and buy this book. It's called Crania Aegyptica. And it was published in 1840, right?
1844.
1844. Crania Aegyptica. That's Crania Aegyptica. Crania Aegyptica, published in 1844. Go grab that book and find out that what we're saying ain't true or is true. Go see. All right. Go ahead, read.
Morton pointed out that both cranial.
That what?
That both cranial,
meaning the study of the skull. Go ahead.
And archaeological.
So both the study of the skulls and the tomb inscriptions and the things that they dug up. Go ahead.
Evidence showed that
So this is a study that scientists are doing that showed something. Let's find out what it showed. What does it show?
Showed that Egyptians were not Negroes.
Say that again.
It showed that the Egyptians were not Negroes.
That what?
Not Negroes.
What?
Not Negroes.
The Egyptians were not Negroes. When they say Negroes, they know that the Egyptians were black people. They just know that they are not you Negroes. And if you read up higher on the page 74, it'll tell you that they also did this study with Native American Indians. And that the Native American Indians and the so-called African American skulls are the same people. They knew that the Native Indians and the Hispanic tribes and Negroes are the same race. They knew that in the 1800s. They knew this before the 1800s, before they actually started doing studies on your brain and studies on your skulls and stuff like that, and your bone structures and stuff like that. They saw that we had the same bone structure, the same everything, and that we were the same race of people. And then they divided us anyway by skin color and tone and religion and language. Yet they knew that the black people that ruled Egypt are not the same people as the people that they had in slavery here in America. Go ahead, read where you left off at, please.
Morton pointed out that both cranial and archaeological evidence showed that the Egyptians were not Negroes.
The Egyptians were not Negroes. That's a bombshell, ain't it? Because somebody told you to wear the Ankh. Somebody told you that Grand Rising King and Ra and Hotep. That's not you. Yet another identity and confusion, man, that Negroes suffer with today. We're confused. We have no clue who we are. And you thought you were Egyptians.
Right.
Sad to tell you that your oppressor, the white man, knows that you are not Egyptians. Let's read that one more time for TikTok.
Morton pointed out that both cranial and archaeological evidence showed that the Egyptians were not Negroes.
Run that back.
Morton pointed out that both cranial and archaeological evidence showed that the Egyptians were not Negroes.
The Egyptians are not Negroes. If Negroes aren't Egyptians, then why is there a movement in America where they got Negroes fooled into thinking that we're Egyptian and we're paying so much of our time, money, and soul into thinking that we're Egyptians. Why is that? I'm gonna tell you why. Because as long as you don't identify with being who you really are, you don't make America have to pay for the crimes that they commit against God's people.
Right.
And the earth, when the earth knows that in China, when China knows that the Israelites are you Negroes in America and Hispanics in America, when Russia, Russia does know. Russia knows that America got the Jews in slavery. Russia knows that. Let me tell you why Russia knows that. Because there's a history in Russia from when we ruled in Russia in the Byzantine Empire that guess what? The icons of the the icons of the Israelites are painted as black people. So they know exactly who they have in slavery over here. And so why is it that they doing that to us? Because as long as you think that you're an Egyptian, you'll never follow the laws of God. And the laws of God is what's going to free you from your captivity. It's just that simple. The laws of God is if you adhere to the laws of God and pick that up and did that as a race or a majority of the race of people, every nation and race on this planet will have to respect you because the laws galvanizes the people together. It gives you a sense of identity. It gives you a culture. It gives you a moral code, and it gives you your own high holy days. It gives you your own, feast days. It gives you your own celebrations, and it strengthens your spirit to the highest heaven. Doing that Egyptology, it takes you down to your lowest hell, and it keeps you confused. And whatever keeps you confused and not knowing who you are is good work for America. It's great for America. It's why they hired Martin Luther King. They got you thinking that you're a so-called Christian in a religion that hates the Bible, because the Bible is not Christianity and Christianity is not the Bible. The fundamental ideology or philosophies of the religion Christianity that you know it as has nothing to do with what's written down in the Bible, in the Word of God. Nothing. Let me give you some instances. Christians in the Christian church say you can come as you are before God and he'll accept you anyway. Well, the Bible doesn't say that. The Christians also tell you that God did away with the law. That's not true. They tell you that Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit and God are just one entity. It's not true. They tell you that Satan, that Satan rebelled against God and got kicked out of heaven. That's not true. They teach you that angels fell down from heaven and had sex with women. That's not true. They teach you that Adam and Eve are the first people to ever be created on the earth. That's not true. What else? They teach you that God hears a sinful prayer. That's not true. They teach you that men and women are equal. That's not true. They teach you that a man can only have that a man can only have one wife. That's not true. They teach you that interracial dating or marriages is okay with God. That's not true. There's so many other things. They teach you about Easter. That's not true. Ash Sunday, Wednesday, whichever one it is. That's not true. They teach you all of these other, philosophies that the Bible is not rooted in. And then they told you that it's in the Bible, and because you're getting high and you don't have leaders and you don't tune into the Israelite school of UPK, you never will ever know. We'll never know. So your history is that of the Jews, because guess what, Negroes? You are the biblical, ethical, racial Jews that descended from the people in history of the Bible and archaeology of the Middle East, Asia Minor. You know what I'm saying? You ruled in the Byzantine Empire. You ruled in the eastern and western half of the Holy Roman Empire. You know what I'm saying? King James is a black man. So was Mozart, Beethoven, Shakespeare. Those are all people who were black. You know what I'm saying? King Charles V was a black man. All his sons were black. All King James sons is black. King James was not LGBT, pro LGBT. He was against it. So is the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And that's that. And I guess because we speak against everything that God hates, the earth loves. And they call us a hate group because we have enough testicular fortitude to stand up against wickedness. And that's fine. We'll do that. All right. So, with that being said, is there more on that? Let's read.
Come. As abolitionists and colonizationists had maintained,
Guess what? Abolitionists and colonizationists had maintained that we were actually the Egyptians. And the reason why they did this, I don't know if y'all know any history on the Bar Mouth. Maybe this is the first time that a lot of y'all see me, but I went to college for history and sociology. And abolitionists, what they did was they said that we were the Egyptians and that we were sons of Ham, and that they justified our slavery here in America as a curse on Ham, that he was supposed to be a servant forever. And then that's what they maintain, meaning the abolitionists and colonizationalists of America were not factual about what they were doing. They were just trying to make it justifiable for them to put us in slavery and treat us the way that they did. But real Egyptologists and real archaeologists and real structural, mummy experts found out that the history is different from what abolitionists and colonizationalists had tried to say it was, and that they had continued to stick to their guns to. But in reality, that we were not the actual Egyptians at all. The Negroes were not Egyptians. So that means that they was wrong for putting us in slavery.
right?
Go ahead.
Come on. And that in fact,
here's the facts that white people were saying are the facts against other white people. What was it? In fact, what?
And that in fact, blacks have been
who?
Blacks?
Who?
Blacks.
You are the only people on the planet that are called blacks in America. You people in America, you blacks in America, go ahead,
had been relegated to the same servile position.
To the what?
To the same servile position in ancient Egypt.
And what?
In ancient Egypt.
You blacks in America have been relegated to the same servile position in ancient Egypt. These are white people telling you that you were the same race of people that were the servants in slavery in ancient Egypt. Go ahead.
As in modern America.
Say that again.
As in modern America.
Man, why you don't know this book? Why is it that you never read this book? This book right here probably gonna be worth $8,000 before the night is out. Let me see. Show TikTok. That's the book. You better get that book in your house. And that's just one excerpt out of this book that shows you how they know who you really are. It's crazy. Excuse me. So when you see these Israelites standing up on the corner, and we're teaching that our so-called oppressors are the devil. The word devil just means liars, man. They lied and deceived the whole earth into thinking that you Negroes or blacks in America were Africans or Egyptians and everything else except for the same people that was slaves in Egypt as in modern America. If you was to learn your true history, which they have it in books, man. Again, I was on a university campus. I was on a campus. I lived on campus in the University of Oregon, and they have a library, and in that library there's levels and tiers, and in certain tiers you need an actual pass that says that this is your field of study to go and find these books. Well, I had to pass because I was a major in history and sociology. That was my field of study. So my student ID allowed me to be able to go into these special places in the library. And I found the book called The Russian Icons. I found books like these that say that the Jews are black people, man. And the same race of black people that are the Negroes today, or so-called black Americans, it's not a gimmick, man. It's not a game. Everything ain't a game or a gimmick or conspiracy theory. On the contrary, you believe the conspiracy theory. You believe the gimmicks. You believe that you're Egyptian. That's a gimmick. You believe that you're, you know, every other race and religion except for who you really are. This ain't a gimmick. You think that we'll be out there I got better things to do with my life than to be out standing on the goddamn corner telling everybody that they the Jews if it wasn't true. I'm an educated black man. I'm more educated than a lot of people. You understand? I wouldn't be out here without common sense telling black people that you are the real Jews that the Bible speaks of.
Right.
When I first heard it, I thought it was asinine.
Right.
And I was a history major, a sociological major in college. And when I saw it, I was on YouTube watching YouTube and then seeing something. This is back, you know what I'm saying, when I didn't know anything. And I seen a video that said the Negroes are the real biblical Jews of the Bible. And I laughed, bro. I laughed. Even though I'm learning all of the stuff that abolitionists are telling us that we are, and colonizationists are telling us that we are, and what they're saying history is telling us that we are. My brain was dirty. Then I watched that video with Commander General Yahanna busting that down with all them brothers in them garments and them studs and the leather and the wristbands and all that beautiful artwork on them. And they standing there tough. And they going against people who think that they know the Bible and getting shut down. And that was enough for me to start taking notes. And I started taking my notes and doing my own research on it. And the very books that they was talking about, I would have researched them myself. Some of them, they had jacked the prices up on these books, man. Because you ain't got enough money to pay your bills. If I make a book that'll show you in history that you are the real Jews that the Bible speaks of, you know what I'm saying? If I showed you a book like that, and then you went to go get the book and it costs $8,000, you could barely pay your bills, man. How on earth are you going to be able to buy this book?
Right.
Well, that's okay. All you got to do is find the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge in your state, in your zone. Go sit down with them brothers and ask them to pull out the books, and they'll show you the books, and you can see it with your own two eyes that this is not a game or a gimmick. This is not the fun games. It's not the foolishness. We're not standing out on these corners for no reason, brother and sisters. We not. And we need you to wake up to the simple fact that if you don't ever come back to your identity and culture and morality, that you're gonna forever be known in the public eye of the world. Your daughters are gonna be labeled as prostitutes and whores and easy women, and they're gonna continue to be sexually objectified. They're never gonna take you serious as a man if you don't stand up against this, man. Your men are gonna continue to be paraded in the media as super predators and drug dealers and murderers and senseless people who will just commit mass murders, man, and shootouts. All they do is label you a thug. If you want to come back to something regal and royal, then come back to your ancestral, like they said in Wakanda, ancestral plane. Also, that's another thing. They gave you the Black Panther, and man, you brothers and sisters put your heart and soul into Black Panther. And every time after that movie came out, when I see a black man, instead of going like this, what's up? You know, the universal head nod. What's up, brother? Or you know what I'm saying? You giving that man the black fist. He know that you a powerful brother. You about black power. Give him that head nod with this right here. He like, oh, okay, what's up? They stopped doing this. So I'm doing this. I'm going like this to brothers. They go like this. Wakanda, you telling me Wakanda, fam? I got news for you. Guess what? Wakanda isn't
real. Right.
Wakanda was made up by a white man who did comic books. It's not real. Just like everything that you think is real is made up by white people. Okay. But the Bible was not. The Bible was written by Negroes.
That's right.
And Latinos.
That's right.
And Native Indians.
That's right.
We wrote this book, and it's still the most sold book on the planet Earth today. Mm-hmm. Today, the Bible is the most bought book on the planet today, and it belongs to you so-called spicks and wetbacks and all of the derogatory terms that they call you, and they don't call you the children of Israel, and that's a problem. That's a major offense, and we should stand up against that, man. And they tell you all the fairy tales on the earth because they know you'll believe it.
Right.
The rich, the people that run the earth, look at you as a peasant. They look at you as a peasant, and peasants will believe anything. The common people, think about the kingdoms of old in the medieval times, or, you know what I'm saying, not even just medieval times, Genghis Khan's kingdom and all of that. Like, Genghis Khan knew all the knowledge, but the common people were tricked into believing things that'll make them put their faith behind what they believed in. And if you, whatever you believe in and think is the knowledge that you should love, you'll put your money with that. It's the easiest way to get the money out of the people who are peasants, is to just have them believe stupid crap.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like lies. Man, if I told you if I gave you the history of Negroes believing that they was Egyptians in America, you'd laugh. You'd laugh. But there was a time before that where we were actually on the right path. You had people you had slaves who led revolts and said that they were the Israelites, man. That's how the Israelite school, that's how the I.S.U.P.K.com was founded, through black slaves in America knowing that they was the real Jews. Well, how do you take that movement and push that aside? Here's what you do. You take black men and you put them in white synagogues and have them study under white Jewish people so that you become a second-class citizen in your own book. Then at the same time that's happening, which is a direct attack against you and who you are, at the same time you pay people like Dr. Ben to pump Egypt on black people and tell them that you come from Egypt. And then you'll pay all the money to go to Egypt so that you can fund America's interest in Egypt and the Middle East. That's what it was all about. If you want to do your research, then you'll know off the rip that guess what? Guess what? You, my brother, are an Israelite. All right. So, with that being said, if there's no questions on TikTok, if there's no questions online, I see all the comments, you know what I'm saying, on y'all online and YouTube. You see what I'm saying? History, I'm taking history to another level, man. This is my passion. You know what I'm saying? If you want to tune in some great history classes, you know what I'm saying? I got the best brothers that's above me, man, that all I got to do is call them about something that I don't know. But, man, I'm going to come and bring you the best history that I can deliver you every Monday. You know what I'm saying? Please like, share, subscribe, follow, comment, you know what I'm saying? Whether you agree with us, whether you don't, all your comments are welcome. You know what I'm saying? All of your insights are welcome. We don't shy away from questions. Even the most trivial questions, man, we may entertain them. You see what I'm saying? If they're on topic. But it's time for our people to know, man. So, to all the people that tuned in, please don't forget to share. We need to, have more people triggered into these lives, have more people come in here with what they know and what they think they know, and really just sit down and listen, man. And listen. And if they got enough discipline to just sit down and listen for 5 minutes, they'll see that what we teach in the UPK is real for real. This is not it's not a game. We're not doing this for government. We don't work for the government. That's another thing people be saying. Man, y'all work with the government. Y'all work with the feds. Brother, did you not know we hate every construct of America that oppresses our people?
Right.
Why would we work with the same government that pump crack into our neighborhoods?
Right.
We don't, brother. We are separate from every group and organization on this entire planet. And the ones that actually do care for and love our people, we will work in conjunction with you to fix the situations in the ghetto, but we still will not be affiliated with you because we don't know what you stand for or what, you know what I'm saying, your history is, what your members are doing. We're totally a separate entity. All right. But man, with that, also, man, I got a lecture coming up. I'm Officer Debarment. I got a lecture coming up in Milwaukee. It's projected to be for the weekend of June 30th. It's gonna be myself giving a lecture. You'll see the stand by for the promotions. We should have all of that together by next week or the week after. All the promotions are gonna be done. It's gonna be given by me and a known black activist out here in the Milwaukee area. You see what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say who he is right now, but trust me, we working, you know what I'm saying? We working hard to get this lecture out to you. The lecture is gonna be called Fatherless Milwaukee and the Kia Boys, the solution to the Kia Boys. All right, it's gonna be by me, Officer Debarment and Israelite School I.S.U.P.K, and another black activist that's prominent in the city of Milwaukee. So he's known from Milwaukee to Green Bay to Kenosha. He goes out of town, does a lot of things for the black community. And you know what I'm saying? Me and the brother sat down yesterday, you know what I'm saying, for hours and just, you know what I'm saying, talked about what we was gonna bring out in this lecture. So make sure you come through. If you can make it to Milwaukee, Milwaukee is, you know what I'm saying, a prominent city. It's not a hick town, you know what I'm saying? It's an actual major city in the United States.
That's right.
So, man, we welcome y'all, man, to come out here and enjoy the lecture. We're going to be having camp that. So the lecture is going to be on a Friday. Nothing set in stone yet until we get it done in council. I'm just giving y'all a heads up. What I want is for us to, you know what I'm saying, do the lecture on Friday and be able to get to a banging ass camp on Saturday, downtown Milwaukee or wherever we held that, you know what I'm saying? There's going to be a lot of brothers, triple, quadruple, you know what I'm saying, the men that we usually have here. So it's going to be a powerful camp. Of course, we're going to hit the scene. We're going to hit the club scene. You know what I'm saying? I might get a place where you need to bring your player stumps, man. You know what I mean? So we're gonna see what's up, man. It's gonna be a wonderful weekend. We're gonna be feeding black people and everything like that. Milwaukee, we got a lot of things coming for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Just hang tight for us. We're working out all of the small things. Me and my right hand man, Officer Zaquan, Officer 5000 Zaquan. Man, we love you brothers and sisters out here, but we gotta tackle this fatherlessness. You know, so hopefully that be able to be spiraled into every ghetto, every neighborhood, and every barrio, because we are fatherless out here. And with that being said, if you want to say anything, ZQ?
You said everything, sir.
All right, no sweat, man. Until next week, man, tune in again live every Monday with myself. Today as special guest, Officer ZQ. You know what I'm saying? So tune in. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do your thing. You know what I mean? And let's build it up. With that, this Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge started out of 1 West, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yahanna. We are not affiliated with any other group on the earth. All right? If you're not a trained professional, don't try this at home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Check the website, I.S.U.P.K.com. for a lot of camp footage, a lot of history footage on the Passover and events that we have, upcoming events that we may have. Big up to Commander Yahanna and America on Fire. Big up to Captain Tazariak and Captain Kadazar for Across the Line Radio. You know what I'm saying? All the other radio shows on the planet. Big up to Captain Mama Quad, his joint, the Round Table of Truth. Hopefully we be up there this Friday to be with them. You know what I'm saying? And just be on the lookout for what we got going on. We're going to build this thing. All right? So with that, Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabrak Thumb to all my brothers out there. What that means is peace. May the Lord be with you wherever, you know what I'm saying, wherever you go. To the men, in the name of Jesus Christ. And Yahweh Shamar Thumb by Shem Yahweh Shai to all my sisters, which means may the Lord watch over you in the name of our King. With that, Shalom means peace. We'll get back to you next Monday. Same time, same location. Rock it out, baby. That's it. Shalom.